星に瞬きを伝えて守るものがあるからきっと強くなれる。語るべき言葉なくした星の守り手は時の果て夢の果て闇に立ちすくんだ風を呼んでみたんだ空に向けて誰かを呼んでみたんだ光求めたソリチュードかすかなレゾナンス確かに届くロマンスそんな流れ星たちを抱き留めた明日が見えなくだって乗り越えなくちゃって奇跡の奇跡描き未来へつなぐ Growing High 心のフォトンが銀河にこぼれて道を強く照らす Burning Bright それぞれの思い秘めた星の守り手は空からの呼ぶ声に導かれた重ねる手と手には言葉なんかより伝わることがある熱い心通じ合った確かなレゾナンス見つけるのはエッセンス目指した意識の先がディスティネーション答えが見えなくてくじけそうになって支え合い誓い合う絆でつなぐシャイニースマイル心のフォトンが銀河に溢れて道を開く鍵は My Starlight Heart乗り越えなくちゃって奇跡の奇跡描き未来へつなぐ Growing High 心のフォトンが銀河に溢れて道が開いたら羽ばたいてゆこうよ乗り越えてゆこうよ星空と溶け合っていつまでも行ける Fly High まっすぐ願いを世界に歌って新しい夜を新
Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's broadcast of the Blue Otter Draft League. I am back again, Becky Rita, and Reigns is also back. So the original draft casters are here for this draft series, and you may notice that there are some very strange, maybe some small oddities with the draft going on, but that's okay. The players have been managing some small problems. In any case, we do have our start here. Tonight, we're going to be watching GOATED face off against the Scooter Shooters, a truly wonderful and very strong matchup, one that will certainly lead to some very interesting interactions. GOATED ended the season relatively with a negative win-loss. However, they did get some good wins under their belt. Meanwhile, the Scooter Shooters had a positive win rate, but still only were 3-2 to the GOATED teams 2-3. And that is with the both leagues did have a few teams that vanished mid-season and FF'd towards the end of the season. So, you know, some of those losses may have been fake, but that is okay. Looking at our first round of picks here, we have Ambessa as our first pick, a very aggressive roster assembled here by GOATED with the Ambessa, the Gwen, supported by the Ashe. I think this is a really good Ashe angle. For at least the Ashe is really good to pair with these two champions, just because Ashe as a utility, more utility-oriented AD carry, can enable picks like the Ambessa and Gwen to actually perform fairly effectively. On the other side, these Scooter Shooters are sticking a little more standard. They have the rec size a little funky, but the Scion and Kaisa are both expected picks, good, reliable picks to see, although the Scion may be a little more unusual, at least in recent months. Regardless, both teams have looking to target out GOATED looking to target out the support of the Scooter Shooters, while the Scooter Shooters themselves seem to be targeting the mid lane of GOATED in the second round of bans. I'm curious to see if they'll give support counter pick over to the with Scooter Shooters. Support counter pick is underrated. They are not going to. They are going to be saving, I suppose, their mid lane counter pick for the Scooter Shooters, which does make sense, as Scooter Shooters have Happiest Cat, who is a very proficient mid laner, has a lot of really funky picks that can come into play and can very much destroy an unsuspecting or inexperienced mid laner, and Greeno unfortunately does fit that bill for inexperienced, we'll just say, as one of the lower performing mid laners this season with not too many picks on them. You can kind of see why the Veigar was banned away, just kind of looking at their recent match history. A lot of comfort on that champion that is being taken away from that ban. GOATED rounding out their picks with the Ahri, a good, reliable jungler, and the Maokai, a reliable mid laner, a good blind, and the Maokai to just provide some solid frontline and peeling and supportive play. A decent option into the Alistar for sure. Scooter Shooters, however, will pick up the Rise to round out their comp. the Scooter Shooters have assembled a very fascinating death ball composition with the Rise, the Alistar, the Kaisa, and the Scion, and even the Rek'Sai, if this is going to be more of that Bruiser-esque Rek'Sai we've been, that has dipped in and out of viability. Going to be a very interesting death ball if it is assembled and put out there. Meanwhile, GOATED themselves are going to try and take the fight. We are going to be seeing likely quite a lot of skirmishing between these two teams, because both of them are going to be playing on a very similar axis. The only wrench maybe into that is if the Ambessa gets some kind of lead and decides to split with it, but I feel like both of these rosters want to team fight. That is where both of these rosters are going to excel. So I think there are some split options. There are some map-wide options. Maybe more so on the Scooter Shooters. Rise famously is a pretty good pick to play the map with. Split on the side with Realm Warp, you have a lot of safety. The Rek'Sai has a lot of mobility around the map with her tunnels. So there is some potential for a little bit wider of a game plan, but I think just breaking it down, both teams are absolutely going to try and deathball this one out, look for those skirmishes, and whoever can get out of laning phase with a solid lead is going to find themselves in the driver's seat of these fights, and especially around those objectives. If I had to make my own personal prediction, I'm as Mr. Udi or Maokai, I like Maokai. But I just feel like I don't know. The Ambessa is what really kind of throws me off. Granted, that is putting a little bit of power into Daxley and Calburn, two really strong players and GOATED's absolute best players on the roster. Trying to enable those players is going to be the game plan here, but the lower picks on the side of GOATED, the other players who are less proficient, are maybe going to anchor this game. You know what? I'm going to bet on Maokai. I believe in Maokai. Maokai always wins. Maokai is my guy. He's my tree. He never betrays me. So with that said, we're just going to go into a break as we set up for the game and wait for the spectator delay. And hopefully when we're back, Reigns is actually going to be here for real. So we'll see you in just a few minutes. Take care. Alrighty. Good. Welcome back, everybody, here on to the Rift for game one of our series between GOATED and the Scooter Shooters. GOATED on the blue side, Scooter Shooters on the red side. I am still Becky Rita, and my co-caster is still currently occupied elsewhere. So I'm going to be doing what I can to keep things moving in a very standard, brisk pace. As we do have the level 1 Maokai going in there. Just trading these two supports, getting a little bit of damage back into each other here. In the top side, actually, for the side of the... oh yeah, I guess I should mention, actually, Cat is not here. I just remembered that that is not a factor. Reaper's Blade is going to be in on the Scooter Shooter side in the mid lane, which does make sense. Okay, we do have a flash getting blown right here. Great arcane smash coming in from Ace Theory, forcing out the flash from over Syzygy and that cleanse, but now we have the exhaust and the flash pulverize as Zoro gonna have to try and dip out of here. The headbutt gonna do a little bit of damage, but not gonna be able to close out that kill as both carries had to blow quite a lot there. Zoro holding on to that barrier, perhaps a little greedy in doing so, but does get to keep that button for this future, for a future engage. Sloppy does have the Hex Flash on the top side here. Daxley is going to get taken down inevitably here, trying to chop up that Scion, but the dead don't die, as it were. First Blood going over to Firearms, and that Scion picking up a nice little chunk of change for themselves, as we see Slappy just poking out and trying to annoy Ace Theory here. Ace Theory looking very healthy on the Maokai right now, which is not so bad. TP coming in from Firearms just to do a little bit of damage. We see the TP is coming out. Reaper's Blade using it as well. And Spartan on the bot side. Meanwhile, the Ambessa jungle from Calburn is just looking to farm, but now it's going to get locked down. We got the headbutt pulverize, going to try and just do some damage onto this Ambessa, who is going to get out of dodge, but Spartan's going to be looking to try and close the gap over Syzygy, pumping out what damage they can. Spartan will get one onto Zoro, but here comes Greeno on the roam, picking up two with the Foxfire, Arcane Orb Barrage. And Greeno now going to have to try and get out of dodge here. Spartan trying to close the gap. We have the tunnel going in, the knockup going down. Reaper's Blade closing the gap. The slow's going to go through, and that's going to be a blasted away Ahri. Another pickup for the Rek'Sai. Spartan getting a massive cash injection here in the early game, making up for the slower farm in comparison to Calburn on the other side of the Rift. Greeno, however, picking up 2 kills there. It's going to be very nice for themselves, especially since the lane was starting to tip in Reaper's Blade's favor ever so slowly. Getting those 2 kills, picking up that lost chapter will be absolutely beneficial to this Ahri, just allowing them to sustain longer here. And now, without the TP, Reaper's Blade going to have to kind of waddle back to lane, giving the Ahri a little bit of time here to try and, do something, get the wave in a favorable position. But now that Ryze is back, probably nothing to worry about. Here on the top side, we see Daxley just bullying out the Scion as best they can. No charges on those pots, so this Gwen will need to recall eventually. I imagine that's in the cards after we get this wave. When we decide to shove this wave in, we do have the engage coming in here from the Maokai. We'll be going for the lockdown, the Twisted Advance. Slappy taking a bit of damage there. One thing with the Maokai going in onto the Alistar that we're going to have to remember as Firearms is trying to pick up Daxley here. Flash is getting traded. Slow connects, and Spartan decides that is my kill with the heat-seeking missile firing into Daxley's backside. 3 kills a killing spree right now for this Rek'Sai, who is getting a huge back off here from a longsword to nearly the fully completed components of whatever items Tunneler builds into. I can't think of what this might be off the top of my head. So I guess we'll all be surprised. Well, maybe you might not be surprised, but I will be, as the dragon will get picked up here. Caliburn continuing to just kind of Roomba the jungle. The Ambessa jungle is going to try and do that, as we do have an engage. Headbutt pulverize onto Zoro, who will be exhausted, going to get taken down by the Rek'Sai. Slappy will get traded back. Caliburn very low right now. Ace Theory also very low. Greeno's going to try and come in from the side. Will land a charm onto Over Syzygy, who does have the cleanse on the top side. We see the skirmish between these two top laners, who are doing absolutely nothing to each other as the bot lane fight disperses and no other kills are picked up. So that is just going to be, I believe, 2 going over to the side of the Scooter Shooters, but that first Drake will go over to GOATED. So taking a moment here to kind of collect our bearings. Slappy currently on the top side on a reset here. Over Syzygy will be going back. Has a lot of gold in pocket. Not quite a completed item on either side for either of these 80 carries. Missing out on those kills is certainly going to hurt them, as we see Kaisa throwing some items around, trying to figure out what the best route here is. Will land on what you see in front of you right now, with the Cole getting picked up after that early back. As Daxley now still not a whole lot in terms of damage on this Gwen. Really relying a lot on those base damage numbers to chip away at this Scion, who is fears nobody and nothing. Greeno firing out a charm just to see the particle effect, as Reaper's Blade absolutely hammers those keys. The keyboard warrior Rise, hitting those buttons like nobody's business. Good Hallowed Mist from Daxley to dodge the knock-up from Firearms. Spartan's going to be looking to trade this one out. Firearms is a little low on resources. We see the Public Execution will be coming out from Ambessa, almost certainly going to take out that Scion. Now he's a zombie, and he may try and fight back here. Caliburn, very squishy. Knockup's going to come in. Scion punching out. He's going to punch Caliburn's lights out. Taken down right there. Spartan landing the heat-seeking missile. Does have the Void Rush, but doesn't want to use it there.
Not shocked either. Hello everyone, I am back. Sorry, we had some finals related issues to school, but everything has been sorted now. And I'm coming back. I'm seeing some insanity. Spartan already 5-0 on it. Decent from Caliburn and Greeno, but rest of the map is struggling quite difficult. And Spartan, now with the Titanic Hydra, going to be able to farm even faster. You can see is to be able to make his way through that jungle very quickly. The damage he can output is really strong, and it's going to be very difficult for GOATED to come back. Although a pick onto Slappy might have just been found. No flash. Doesn't have the exhaust either, but a knock away. Reaper's Blade and Spartan are already here. Now they're going in onto Ace Theory, who flashes over the wall. Manages to get out to safety on those Krugs. Now Firearms Daxley is going to be fighting out, but with no ultimate left on the Gwen, Firearms is going to be in a little trouble, trying to get a little bit more damage, but he's not going to be able to. So much true damage from that sweet spot, but he's going to be able... Oh! That last little punch. Now, another fight there. Slappy betting very, very low, but Zoro gets knocked out by Spartan, going to be able to pick up the kill, and so much damage coming out of this Rek'Sai. A beautiful Q to land the double. 7-0-1 now on this Rek'Sai, and it seems like Spartan can do no wrong.
Yeah, Spartan has been a player that I think a lot of people haven't really expected a lot from, especially on the Scooter Shooters. You look at some of these other players like Over Syzygy, or if Cat was here, Cat would be in contention. But Reaper's Blade's certainly no slouch.
I was about to say, wait, I thought Reaper's Blade wasn't playing this season. I'm so confused, and then I had to check the doc. Yeah, subbing in. I did not get the memo.
Yeah, so, you know, you don't really think about Spartan as kind of just like here as a person that does a task. But this game, they are absolutely bringing the pain on this Rek'Sai. We've seen some really great map movements, some really great choices in terms of where to find opportunities, and I think just getting set up very well by Slappy, by Reaper's Blade, even by Firearms, depending on the scenario. Speaking of Firearms, has been doing okay into the Gwen. Gwen typically is that great pick into tanks, and we can see why, even at a disadvantage, Daxley is still able to pump out insane damage into the Scion. But, you know, Scions keep ahead in farm, has completed that first item in the Titanic Hydra, which we also see on to Rek'Sai. This is where I realized that I should probably read patch notes before casting a game, because this seems like something I would not have expected otherwise, but I suspect there's some shenanigans afoot.
Wait, what are you not expecting? The Rek'Sai pick?
I mean, yes, but also just the Titanic Hydra as something Scion might consider.
Oh, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've been seeing a lot of, like, side laners pick it up, but I don't know. After today's shown by Broken Blade, it seems like weak side tanking, just build the resist boots, put the tank items in the bag, you know? I don't know. Were you watching G2 earlier?
I was not. No, I was.
Did you hear the news?
Yes,
the good word?
I did hear. I did hear the good word.
Firearms did not hear, unfortunately. No tank items. No Ace Theory. Slappy screws up the Hex Flash over the wall, but it doesn't look like it's going to matter. Spartan's there for the knockup. Caliburn's coming in on that counter gank, but a beautiful knockup from Slappy. Hits on a 3. Now it's Reaper's Blade here as well. Lots of damage going down, but unfortunately they just don't want to chase it. They don't see Greeno on the map. Finally has appeared for now a big 4v4 in the bot lane, coming out with public execution. Slappy that goes down. Spartan goes right back in, manages to pick up a kill. Caliburn doing so much damage. Spartan trying to get out, but a beautiful 1k gold shot down onto Spartan. Now it's just the mid laners left in the last fight. Greeno with a health advantage, lots of damage, and with Reaper's Blade missing that Q, it's going to seal the fade for that fight. Greeno picking up a ton of kills in that fight, and going over to GOATED as a total. What was a massive gold lead, over 3,000, now just 1,000 gold difference, and shortening with those tower plates as well. Spartan just had a massive shutdown on him that goes over to Caliburn and Greeno. And this mid-jungle duo for GOATED is trying their absolute best to bring themselves back into the game, as I unfortunately have to leave for a little bit. I will be right back.
That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, so taking a look at that there, that was absolutely great for GOATED. I will say I was a little skeeved out by the start of that. Ace Theory did manage to find a way to miss with Maokai ultimate, which I didn't think was possible, but did miss with that ability, with that big button down. You think, okay, well, what are we going to try and do here? But especially once you see the scooter shooters, they had a very good response. They had Slappy throwing out some good CC, good frontlining there. Spartan had arrived at that point. Reaper's Blade showed up. So it looked like it should have gone in favor of the scooter shooters, but Calburn on this Ambessa, that AFK farming has started to pay off quite a bit there, pumping out such incredible damage, and unfortunately without those lockdown tools, there just isn't a lot of lockdown in general on the side of the scooter shooters, so champions like the Ambessa can absolutely go sicko mode crazy, as Daxley will get picked up right there. That is actually the Scion wins these. We all know this. I know it, you know it, everyone knows it. Public execution almost certainly will lead to the death of Scion. A little bit of Noxus friendly fire there, as Firearm's gonna just clean up that wave, maybe try and get a plate. Yep, we'll get that plate up there, so that is honestly a pretty good trade out there. If you're going to end up dying in top lane of Scion, you are okay dying in those regards, as Oversynergy decides to take a turret shot for fun, to feel something. Meanwhile, we look at the bot side of GOATED, are returning to bot lane. Greeno will be spotted, as Slappy's going to be trying to go for the CC chain onto the Greeno, who will be able to dip and dodge with the Arcane Rush. Spartan will get tagged by the Nature's Grasp, but it's only just Spartan getting tagged by it. Does have the Void Rush. Rift Herald defeated on the top side there. That is going to be the trade as Spartan, it reveals on the bot side. Slappy going to get the pulverized headbutt on Ace Theory. Zoro with the volley, just getting some arrows into that backside of that cow. Enjoying a little bit of beef for the winter. Trying to heat up there. Those cold Freljordian winters, you need some red meat to stay warm, I suppose. As the bot lane for GOATED are not doing so hot for themselves, although that's not necessarily unexpected. Daxley, I think, underperforming right now on this Gwen pick, but doing quite a lot of damage. We're seeing why. This is why you pick Gwen into the tanks. She does still do a lot of damage. Realm Warp gonna be popped right there, but Reaper's Blade will only be warping to the Death Realm as Calburn picks that one up. Starts the Drake. Slappy here in the front, gonna be trying to look for that engage. Does not have the Unbreakable Will, and with the TP here from Daxley, I think this is, yeah, Scooter Shooter's gonna have to just bail out on this one. That's another Drake. First of the Ocean Drakes going into the pocket of GOATED this game, who are still absolutely holding it for themselves right now, especially as Calburn finding huge plays here, getting a lot of money for themselves and getting themselves back into the game as Ace Theory going to get knocked up, headbutt pulverized, taking a little bit of damage. Daxley will get a turret in mid, will not get punished, have to blow the flash. Nature's Grasp will go out to just provide some cover, as that is going to be a reset from the GOATED roster, or at least an attempted reset. So, taking a momentary break to just look around at where we are at. Gold is even. Point at gold. Gold is even. Very scary stuff. Zoro, also very afraid. Here comes the Kaisa ultimate, trying to try and just get this kill right here. The cleanse. Not quite the Captain Jack, but still picking up the kill there as Oversyzygy gets the pick on to the Ashe. The Alistar was there for emotional support and not much else. And speaking of emotional support, Daxley is going to need some after that gankaroo. Firearms and Spartan doing just so much damage. Slappy once again arriving to see the kill happen, but not actually getting an assist for it, which, I don't know. I just find that very, very, I don't know. I find that very fascinating. In any case, we do happen to have firearms in the top side. Gonna probably pick up that turret sometime soon. We see Scooter Shooters look like they're setting up for something around the river here. Maybe they want to try and go for Calburn. Oh no, Slappy's not going to get a choice, as Calburn's going to find them with that blast plant, getting blasted into a whole new world with a brand new attitude. This cow is still going to die right here. Spartan's hovering around as the Scion TPs, but will not go back in. Kaisa's not there. Reaper's Blade is in another realm entirely, so that's just going to be a freebie there. DoorDash has arrived. Your steak dinner is delicious. Slappy going down once again there, and that was certainly kind of a bizarre series of events. Sitting on the blast plant, getting knocked over the wall. I see the theory in trying to get on Calburn. You do have Spartan, but I don't know. I feel like Calburn is deceptively hard to kill on the Ambessa. With the Eclipse, with all that damage, with the ability to kind of just tank through by just threatening the kill onto the opponent. Rek'Sai does have some burst in the kit, but as the modern Rek'Sai is certainly more of a bruiser champion, so not really getting that assassin burst that you may have seen in some Rek'Sai patches as Riot fiddles the numbers on the Rek'Sai champion to try and figure out what to do to make this champion actually playable, when really the secret is just give her back her old ultimate, you cowards. Daxley on the top side. I don't think we're going to see this fight really amount to anything here. At this point, I do think Daxley is very... Oh, we do have the stun going in on to over Syzygy, and that is absolutely going to be a public execution. But now Slappy walking in 1v3, trying to help out over Syzygy, but that Kai'Sa has been dead for years at this point. Will dodge out on the Nature's. Never mind, Nature's Grasp will also land here. That's going to be a total lockdown on the Reaper's Blade, who gets picked up by Zoro. A good knockup by Firearms, but the damage is pretty much gone at this point. It's just Firearms and Spartan on their lonesome. Firearms will get taken out on the top side of that fight. Spartan waiting over the wall, just watching those footsteps, all those enemy feet making an impression in the ground, but certainly making more of an impression into the skulls of the Scooter Shooters roster. As, yeah, just a kind of a series of picks as the Scooter Shooters get systematically taken apart piece by piece. And the GOATED roster are showing again kind of like that. As I said in draft, both of these rosters are really going to try and play around the death ball. And GOATED there did exactly what you wanted to do with the death ball. You throw out the Ashe ulti, you hit on the one person, and then you just fight whoever you see. There's a champion in screen, you hit them. If you can hit a squishier champion, you try and hit them. So Slappy walking in there to try and help out over Syzygy, I think was just kind of, you know, as a support, you're like, I gotta help my friend, but your friend was very much dead already. And from there, you know, without the damage, Reaper's Blade becomes an easy target. Isn't even able to really do a whole lot in that fight. And the damage for the Scooter Shooters outside of the Kai'Sa and the Rise is not very impressive. Even the 11-1 Rek'Sai at this point has certainly fallen off in terms of relative effectiveness, as we do have Firearms getting a very good knockup right there. Greeno gonna dip out with the Arcane Rush. The turret nearly taking Greeno out on the back end there, but will not get that kill. Spartan gonna get locked up by the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Gonna try and get over the wall. Ooh, the Void Seeker will nearly grab that one as Spartan is not able to close that one out. Actually, now to think about it, I think Void Seeker is Rek'Sai's burrowed Q, which means that yes. Kai'Sa's W is a whole other ability. That's neither here nor there. Yeah, so Baron in the pockets of GOATED right now. They are...
Wait, no, Void Seeker is Kai'Sa's W.
Oh. Wait, then what's Rek'Sai's burrowed Q?
You said burrowed Q?
Yeah.
Oh, what
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We have got a fight. Realmwark gonna be not successful in getting Reaper's Blade out of this one. Knockback from the Bramble Smash will lock up Firearms. Daxley chopping up forward with the scissors, looking to get themselves a nice cut of that very delicious beef. But the cow does survive this slaughtering session. But the rest of the Scooter Shooters roster, not so lucky, as that is going to be several towers knocked down. And the inhib does stay alive, which is a small victory, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, at this point, you might just want the extra super minion gold, right? But at bare minimum, it means that they're not cracking on the Nexus towers anytime super soon. Probably going to need at least one more big fighter objective for that to happen. Yeah, also turns out it's not Void Seeker, it's Prey Seeker is Rek'Sai's Q, which makes sense given her kit.
Yes.
But yeah, also like it's very difficult now. Pretty much all your golds in any meaningful carry position, if you're Scooter Shooters, is on the Rek'Sai, who has been putting in a lot of work, but unfortunately at this point in the game, you really need your Kai'Sa, you really need your Ryze to be putting in that consistent damage to be able to clean up these fights, because your Rek'Sai is just very, very vulnerable. You can already see that medallion in the inventory, which can only mean two things: a death stance or a GA. And honestly, at this point in the game, with how fast you die if you're Spartan, I think it has to be a GA. I don't think death stance is going to be enough, especially with the damage that this Ambessa can put out, that Daxley can put out, who is now in the 1v2 and might be caught out in the side lane. Going to be trying to turn it with the needles, getting a lot of damage down. Ace Theory going to be able to back it up with the R as well, getting so much down. Firearms finally pops. Greeno is able to CP. Beautiful knockup from Slappy, though, and it's the Void Seeker from over Syzygy from downtown. Spartan, unfortunately, goes down as well. It's now 1-for-1, but Caliburn missing the public execution. Still in an even fight. Slappy going to make it not even, though, as it's just the carries left alive for Scooter Shooters that are being run down in short work by Zoro. Caliburn trying to run, get the slow onto a Reaper's Blade, and an ace for GOATED here. Only losing 2 members in the process means that they're going to be able to be pushing for probably as long as they want, quite honestly, at least a tower, maybe more. 10 to 15 seconds, they might not want to agree for that inhibitor tower, but they definitely get this inner, and if they're smart, they should be able to secure that dragon as well. Greeno's going to be backing for that health and probably running straight to that objective.
Yeah, and I think that that is absolutely great for them to get. Puts them in soul point range, although we may not even see the soul come into play, although I will say that Scooter Shooters have been making these fights extremely close, like a knife's edge, but unfortunately, it just feels like the Scooter Shooters are just short on damage. They never really, it doesn't really feel like they have the ability to close out any of these kills. Meanwhile, we see all of the crazy damage coming out from GOATED.
Yeah, and GOATED trying to find and capitalize on this advantage that they already had. Now on Soul Point, being able to chase Big Arrow onto Firearms, and the flank now coming through onto Spartan. Greeno just in and over the wall there and back again, as Caliburn is going to be the one that picks up the kill. Zoro with another Firearms left in zombie form, trying to desperately clear the wave to make sure that this isn't game over, but with 3 kills, GOATED might just be on their victory march. It's just over Syzygy left alive, Slappy up in 5. Can the bot lane and the Scooter Shooters make up this difference? I don't know. It is GOATED 5 strong, marching down mid lane, 2 Ocean Dragons, all the regen they could ever ask for, and it doesn't even look like over Syzygy and Slappy are going to try. They know it's game over. They're saving the KDA, and they're holding off for game 2 as GOATED pick up game 1.
Yeah, it took a little bit for GOATED to find their footing in this game, especially as Spartan had such a strong early game, but man, the Rek'Sai pick showing why you do not see this horrendous champion ever at all. I'm sorry, Rek'Sai fans, all 4 of you, I'm sure you're brokenhearted about this one, but your champion's not very good, and you know why, and we saw why this game. It just doesn't do anything as the game goes on. It's just like, it's Wukong, but worse. You could get so much out of a bruiser AD pick that actually does things in the later stages of the game.
I don't know if I'd call him Wukong, but worse. It's just it's a much more early game skewed pick than Wukong, right? Like, you make so much happen in this early game, and Spartan definitely did. Unfortunately, just as they were transitioning into those mid game fights, Spartan was still getting a lot, but the rest of the team just wasn't able to follow up quite as much, or if they were following up, they were dying in short order, right? Obviously, GOATED's comp had a lot more damage in it. It was really only the Maokai that was that sort of more tanky pick, right? The Ahri, the Ambessa, the Ashe has been more utility, but Ashe does a lot of early game damage, right? You combine that with the Gwen, it's just very hard, right? You land a knockup onto that backline, you're like, okay, guys, we can go in. The Kai'Sa flies in, and now Kai'Sa's in the middle of what, an Ambessa, an Ahri, and an Ashe? Like, that's not a great situation to be in. So unfortunately, the sort of hard dive composition from Scooter Shooters just wasn't quite able to make it through that mid game, and GOATED were able to just pull ahead, pick up all the kills that they needed, pick up all the objectives that they needed, and in those late game team fights, I mean, it was just utter domination for most of them.
Yeah, so we'll see what the scooter shooters can pull out here in game 2. Now that maybe some of these stronger, higher damage picks from Goated are off the table, we could see the scooter shooters pull something out in draft for game 2. But we'll see what they have. Welcome back, everybody, here on to the draft for game 2 of our series between GOATED and the scooter shooters. Yes, GOATED did manage to secure game 1 with a very strong performance from a good number of these players, but especially Calburn on that Ambessa did a lot of work. And even Greeno was able to hold their own quite proficiently as the game went on, playing more of that supportive mid lane role, following the Ambessa around and setting up for some strong plays. So we'll see what both of these teams have in store for us going forward as we look to see what they have in the tank for draft in game 2.
Yep, already seen the bans come out. Xerath, not super shocking knowing Reaper's played. I imagine that Xerath stays banned for quite a while, but we'll have to see. Obviously, you know, Fearless will get that marked off in just a second, but obviously none of the champs from the previous draft will be available, which means big point of contention. The Alistar is going to be out, one of those favorite supports for a lot of people. Going to be out. The Braum obviously is still up for some of those more counter engages, but the Gwen is also going to be out, which means one of those key picks to counter a lot of those tank top laners is gone. The Ahri as well, you know, one of those very solid mid laners to cover up on dive that a lot of players play. Not a lot of players in this league with the LeBlanc either, so, you know, a lot of draft space that isn't as open anymore that teams are going to have to make up for somehow.
Yeah, we'll see what these teams decide to pull out. It looks like the scooter shooters definitely taking their time to think on this one, considering their options. Although it could also be that they maybe just don't have a pick, or there's an issue with draft.
Okay, a lot of it very, very, very quick. Okay. Speaking of the Braum banned out, Ezreal also banned Caitlyn, two of those big poke bot laners. Gone. Carry junglers, gone. All right, there we go. We see the Zen immediately picked up, not shocking at all, one of those high priority early bruiser junglers, which given the state that we've seen both of our junglers been playing, not shocked to see it at all. The Jax and the Yunara also picked up. Yunara, great pick right now. Is very strong in the meta, as well as just being a very consistent bot lane. Quirky is the answer. Also been very consistent lately, a bit more early game focused to provide that pressure. So I wouldn't be surprised to see GOATED going for that a bit more of that aggressive bot lane, using Veigar to scale up in that mid lane and set up for ganks on Xin Zhao. Jax, obviously a flex pick, could go either jungle or top lane. We've been seeing quite a bit more jungle Jax lately, so I wouldn't be surprised if that's the answer to the Xin Zhao, especially with being able to counter-strike a lot of those Qs. Hui being the Veigar answer, early poke mage. It's able to keep your distance from Veigar. Not bad at all. Alright, I think we're all caught up.
Yes, we are caught up right here. As the first round of picks does end up with a lot of quite a bit of zone power from the Veigar, a lot of poke coming out from the Corki there. Xin Zhao providing a solid bruiser option. Like you said, the Jax almost certainly is going to be going into the jungle, although it is still a flex, still something we could consider to see in top lane if it looks like there's a particularly good matchup for it. So it's certainly not impossible. There are still some players who believe Hui can go support. I don't trust them, but that is theoretically a flexible choice. Uh,
Anyone who
with
says Hui is a support is just too much of a coward to play the ultimate support pick, which is support Vigar, where
mhm.
you just run up on the enemy and stack on your Q. Is it good? No. Is it fun? Also, no. I really don't know why people play mages bot lane. I've never really understood it. Just play good picks.
It's not about you having fun as the mage in bot lane. It's about the enemy AD carry not having fun.
You know,
You
that
gotta
makes a lot of
understand.
sense. Okay, I will note, we have seen Lux. We have seen Lux recently, but that's pretty much exclusively with Caitlyn. So
Mhm.
I would not expect to see it with the Yunara, and there we see the Karma coming in, which makes a lot more sense, especially if you're leaning into this poke-heavy composition with the Hui. Decent synergy with the Yunara, right? Decent in the fights. Maybe not as much as maybe a traditional like hard enchanter or engage support, but still completely fine. I would expect to see a top or a jungler here. That sort of contributes to this sort of like half and half brawly poke potential that evens out. Cassante obviously is still available and very strong. If we want to see that top laner, you know, there's obviously the Malphite, but I don't think it's as good here, especially with all the mixed true and magic damage coming through. So we see the Leona. So very clearly, GOATED have made it very clear that they want to go forward and play this aggressive early game. So I wouldn't be shocked to see either a maybe more side laney pick on the side of Scooter Shooters, especially if they want to counter this Renekton especially.
Yeah, the scooter shooters now do have a bit of a choice to make in terms of how they want to deal with the Renekton. Uh, there are certainly better picks than others. Theoretically,
Knowing I mean, like, knowing the league, I wouldn't be
yep,
surprised to see something like a
yep,
Mundo, a Rumble here,
yep,
a Gnar. Oh, and
yep,
there's the Gnar.
yep,
Okay.
yep, yep,
Well, that
yep.
makes a lot of sense.
That's a classic. That's a classic
I was
right
about to
there.
say, I'm like thinking of like what are Scooters gonna play? You got you got the Gnar, you got the Rumble. Oh, yep, there's the Gnar. Okay. Well, honestly, overall, Scooter Shooters comp not bad in the slightest. I will say, going for Jax Yunara and then like taking a hard right into the Hui and Karma is certainly a choice. I think their team comp is a lot less cohesive than GOATED. But if they pull it off correctly, being able to poke a lot with Hui and Karma can make those engages from GOATED a lot more difficult, especially running into Yunara, who can just output so much damage on those 2 and 3 item spikes.
Yeah, it is. Welcome back, everybody, here on to the Rift for Game 2 of our series between the Scooter Shooters and the GOATED roster. Same sides as the last game. We do have some different champions, a little bit of a poke-heavy roster coming out from the Scooter Shooters as they look to set up for a powerful Yunara late game, at least theoretically. So we'll see what our two teams have in store for us here. I am still Becky Rita and still with Reigns as we, I guess, just kind of take stock of where things are going right now. Both junglers are on the top side, going to be working their way down. Xin Zhao can certainly go for early ganks, although I imagine it's not super likely considering the lanes here. Maybe Veigar sets up a cage, but that requires Veigar to get cage relatively early, which is not super advisable. So I would imagine we're going to see a bit of a slow start.
Yeah, I mean, I will say, like, after your first clear, obviously you're down by bot side. The Leona Corki's going to be very good to gank. That top side, especially when you run back up there, if Firearms overextends on a jump, right, Renekton can dash in, land the stun, and really set up for those ganks. But not much until after that full first clear, right? You don't really have any early, like, level 1 or 2 openings. But after that, you know, once your Leona gets her abilities, once your Veigar gets cage, once your Renekton gets dash and stun, you have a lot of ways to set up for ganks, and that looks like what GOATED wants to be doing, right? Obviously, the Veigar has a lot of scaling. Corki scales, you know, pretty well, but overall, you know, I'd say 4 out of these 5 members are heavily early to mid-game skewed, compared to something like the Hui, the Yunara, the Jax, the Karma even, like, a lot of these much more scaling picks. So it's definitely going to be, for Scooter Shooters, how they handle this early and mid game. As you can already see, Caliburn skipping the Krugs, running straight to the bot side as an engage here from Ace Theory on a Slappy over Syzygy, forced to flash out early, but it's not going to be anywhere near enough as Caliburn lands the knock-up. And a bit of a early flash there from over Syzygy is probably going to lead to Slappy getting killed as well if they decide to go in on that. Caliburn's going to start walking it, but can't quite find the A. Now it's going to be Spartan on that Scuttle Crab, trying to get it before Caliburn can get in. It's going to be a big smite fight. Who's going to get it? Let's see. Spartan, both of them fighting it over, but Ace there is going to be here instead, flashing forward to land something. Now Daxley in the top lane fighting with Firearms, who's desperately trying to get that kill. Daxley needs the heal, but he's not going to get it as Firearms picks up a 1-for-1 now trade in the top side. Caliburn going to be able to land the smite for the Scuttle, but unfortunately it's going to cost him his life as Reno tries to walk bot lane into a bush that hasn't been warded. Slappy will pick up the kill, but now it's Spartan who's low health into Zoro and Ace Theory over Syzygy finally here, but now Slappy and Spartan might be able to collapse onto Zoro, who has low mana. Over Syzygy's here has finally joined the fight. Spartan has to be careful, but he has the counter-strike back. Zoro going down, and just like that, what looked like disaster has turned into a miracle early game for Scooter Shooters.
Yeah, the Scooter Shooters have found their way into quite a sizable lead for themselves. Only the Corki on the side of GOATED manages to pick up really anything there. And I think the interesting thing is that pretty much the gold has kind of been very distributed here. So aside from the Yunara, who did not pick up a kill, at least got an assist, we see Jax, who now has a kill and 2 assists, a ton of money in pocket. The Karma, who's able to get finish up that Bandle Glass mirror pretty quickly, which is certainly nothing to sneeze at. And the Hui getting the Faded Ashes now in on the lane. So the Scooter Shooters team have an absolutely very strong early game set up for themselves right now. And that is very devastating because, as you said, the late game from this Scooter Shooters roster is where they're really going to shine. Whereas the GOATED roster is certainly more powerful in the early to mid game with the Corki, with the Leona, with the Renekton especially. We do have that strong early to mid game power, and already being put behind this significantly is
quote
going
unquote
to,
in theory.
Yeah,
in theory, his firearms. Oh, he's going for it. The Mega Knight, the flash forward, the stun, the ult back, and firearms. One more Q will do it. It actually goes down again. 2-0 on the Gnar. We were saying, early game. It is not 6 minutes in, and Scooter Shooter's already with a 2,000 gold lead, but they're going to be looking to even it up here as Caliburn tries to come for the mid lane gank. Reaper's Blade able to land the ult and the flash is going to make sure that Caliburn can't quite get on top of him. Now it's Slappy and Oversyzygy trying to find something on the Zoro in the bot side, but it's not going to be enough. We'll have to see, though. Slappy going to get turned on. Walked a little far forward after they used their cooldowns, and I don't think they were respecting the Corky base damage as much. Now on to Oversyzygy, who walked up. Thankfully, no mana left means that Zoro and Ace Theory aren't quite going to be able to finish onto Oversyzygy, but still, after everything, Scooter Shooter is still with a massive advantage in this early game, and it's not the position that GOATED wants to be in right now.
Yeah, GOATED do not... They do not want this scenario. Like, at this point, you would want to have... be in a very dominant position in all your lanes, preferably, but especially in topside on the Renekton, who becomes a very fancy-looking melee minion in the later stages of the game, is already approaching swiftly melee minion status, as the Gnar, just on the boots too, getting that early plated steel caps, able to kind of negate quite a bit of the Renekton damage, and we see right here just so much pain. That percent health of the hyper procs is incredible, and yeah, Firearms is looking to go big. Can try and chuck some rocks, but I think Daxley will just get out of dodge there. But yeah, I mean, Firearms making a ton of money off of just those hyper procs, as Ace Theory is going to go in.
Yep, and now it's a bit of a bad fight here. Oversyzygy without the ultimate means he's probably going to go down. Firearms going to be the first to fall, though, as it's going to be kills on both sides of the map. Forget what I said about GOATED having a massive struggle, miracle for Scooter Shooters. Nope, right back into it, winning the top lane and bot lane fights in that scenario. Weren't quite able to get that early dragon, but I don't think it matters here as the Xin is topside for Void Grubs, and without Spartan up there to contest it, it should just be a free objective there. And GOATED, had their struggles, but those early game carries are starting to get the gold where they need to be. Daxley could maybe use a little more, but thankfully getting that plate and getting that assist up in the top side is going to do tremendous amounts to help it, evening what was a 2,000 gold lead back up to just a couple hundred.
Yeah, and that evening of the gold does certainly help Scooter Shooter, the GOATED roster, because they really in this situation needed the help. They needed the backup. The game was just starting to slip out of their favor so quickly. But now, with a bit of extra pressure, they are able to get some more damage back. Great cage there, but I think we're just going to see a dead Ace Theory.
Yeah, it's a bit of a struggle as Ace Theory dies, but Spartan's going to get traded back just in thing. Daxley TP'd into the mid lane, massive flank here onto the entire back line, able to stun Oversyzygy as Caliburn goes in, manages to pick up a double kill for Greeno. Now Reaper's Blade going to be following hopefully shortly thereafter as Zoro picks it up, and now Slappy, the last one left in the cage. Double kill for the mid laner, double kill for the bot laner, 4 for the carries, massive assist for Daxley, and GOATED with an absolutely beautiful play there. Great communication to call Daxley in from the mid lane. Finds a delicious TP flank. And GOATED from 2k down to 1k up in just 3 minutes. And that's the kind of play that we saw from them in game 1, that if they want to close out the series early is going to be the play that they are going to hopefully continue to have. But we'll see how that shapes up. We have a dragon coming up with a minute 30, and if they can pull off something like they just did, it should be secured relatively easily.
Yeah. On the top side, we see Ace Theory kind of just standing around looking to potentially get in on the Gnar, but really just kind of biding their time as, you know, their Corki is on a reset, and what else are you going to do? Kind of just, you know, try and offer some support. Maybe you get a cheeky little kill on to your opponent and move on with your life, and that can be seen as a victory. So we'll just be a-okay, hanging out up there, getting the recall now. Corki 4-1 now on the Zoro here, has that Triforce, and that is an absolutely massive damage spike there. Is Caliburn gonna be looking to engage? That could just be a kill. Ooh, flash from Reaper's Blade will keep the Hui alive, just barely. Spartan looking for something. Ace Theory's engaged.
Ace Theory not looking great right now. Slappy and Spartan gonna be able to land the roots over SysG. Beautiful locket though, might keep him alive for just a little longer. He's still up there. Double kill for Greeno. Slappy trying to run back to the safety of his tower. He gets chased down, is barely gonna make it out to safety, and Ace Theory on just a sliver of health. All calculated, I guess, as GOATED pick up a double. Now 4-1 for the Vigar, and that should be an easy dragon in the bag. GOATED with another amazing fight. Now fully in control in the lead. That is a terrible situation for Scooter Shooters to be in. And I gotta ask, Becky, I know we're in upper bracket, like, we're in, like, brackets now. Is it still best of threes, or are we in best of 5 territory right now? Okay, I'm gonna go check on that one. You keep the ball rolling. I'm gonna go look actually to make sure.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I just genuinely have no idea.
Best of threes. Okay, good.
Okay,
good
thank
to know.
God.
Good to know. It's upper quarters, best of threes. This team will advance to the upper semis, and whoever loses this one gets knocked back down to the lower bracket. That's gonna have to fight it. So we are playing double elim now. I do remember that, and you know, even if you lose this one, it's not the end of your story just yet, but it is going to put you in a dire situation, right? If Scooter Shooters go down here, it means that any loss from that point forward means that they're out. Their season is done. And GOATED absolutely don't want to get sent down there with how well they've been playing today. Greeno with another beautiful cage. Spartan has to be careful. Daxley goes forward, manages to land that kill. Firearms now trying to get the pinch with Reaper's Blade onto Daxley. We'll have to see, though. Dominus not quite available yet, but Firearms might be in a bit of danger trying to re-engage. Manages to get the flash away and live, but still such an investment just to go down a player.
Yeah, a very sizable investment, and yeah, and that seems to be kind of just the story of the Scooter Shooters this game. Since that early start where it looked like they were in a good position, they've kind of overcommitted their resources and have been punished as a result. I think GOATED just kind of have their number in terms of playing the map, playing the roams here. So we do see Daxley going to be going in onto Forearms. This Gnar is miniature, and he's getting mega. That is why you pick the Renekton champion into the Gnar champion.
Speak of the Dominus.
Gnar into the Renekton. But Renekton can absolutely still blast the mini Gnar if he is not able to get big. That's what I meant to say. As Zoro pumping out some crazy DPS into Slappy, who will have to flash. So that is an important sum taken out from the Karma on bot side. And this Yunara, we were hoping that this Yunara late game could be a huge threat, but that late game is going to be quite a late game, because over Syzygy is absolutely in no position.
Yeah, about to be 0-5, speak of it. Spartan trying to get onto Zoro, but a locket timely. Going to be able to sim for a little longer, but a big shutdown though. Managing to get onto Zoro, and Spartan might be able to live. Ace Theory with a beautiful E there. Caliburn goes in, but it's right to his death. Ace Theory and Zoro just going a little bit too far on Spartan, who's managed to pick up 2 shutdowns there in a very short span of time. Thankfully for Scooter Shooters, not just getting Spartan, but also over Syzygy at 15 minutes, finally getting that first item, Kraken Slayer, but man, has it been rough. Greeno trying to trade out with Reaper's Blade in the mid lane, manages to land the ult, getting a lot of damage. Greeno flashes away, and Caliburn picks up the kill. And man, so many of these GOATED players have been getting out with just slivers of health, barely hanging on to their lives in some of these fights.
As it turns out, sometimes you just need to get a little bit lucky in terms of not taking all of the damage, as Firearms is a miniature lad and will get chopped up, as we just saw not that long ago, but is able to get out of dodge here to survive, as Renekton will take control of the wave. We do see the Gnar with the TP, so almost certainly will just, I guess with the home guards, don't need to burn the TP quite yet. Gnar is a little fast, so you're not necessarily going to need to burn that summoner. Save it to try and counter TP on Daxley. I think that makes sense. Daxley not going to be able to get to the turret there, so overall, I think Firearms even still got that cannon minion, so nothing too horrible lost on the top side there, as the Gnar is able to return up there and try and take positioning in the lane. Meanwhile, around... Okay, we do see the fight coming out here as Firearms looking to try and scuffle as the big Gnar.
Yeah,
we do have the Herald up. Herald is up. Drake's up in about 10 seconds. It looks like GOATED in a better position for that. Pushed in on mid, pushed in on bot.
Now we're fighting over the blue buff.
Yeah, of course. This is a classic.
When team fights over blue buff, as Spartan gets absolutely collapsed on by 4 members of GOATED there, just for trying to pick up a succulent jungle meal right there. Huge play from Reaper's Blade, though, getting a lot of damage down. Now it's Caliburn over the walls. So is Zoro over Syzygy. About to go straight out to the 0-6 factory. Daxley picking up another kill. Greeno finally goes down. Firearms in the middle of the fight. Finally going to go Mega, trying desperately to find a big ult. Reaper's Blade has been pumping out damage this whole time, trying desperately, but unfortunately the rest of the team just not quite able to pump out that same level of damage. And they're only able to pick up a 1 kill. Now going to be able to pick up that Hextech Dragon and a couple kills for their troubles, as I assume they're going to be trying to back off and maybe go for this Herald shortly thereafter. And man, they want blood. They screw, you know, Herald, Dragon, whatever. We're fighting over the blue buff. We're fighting over wards. We just want to fight.
I respect it. I think it's actually optimal, personally, to just fight over just anything. As I think especially if you are GOATED, you want them to take these fights because you should theoretically be winning them. So you aren't going to necessarily complain about these fights being called out because, well, shouldn't we win them? So we'll see if it actually is what happens here, or and currently it is what has been happening, as most things this game have been now turning up the GOATED for the GOATED team, as it looks like Daxley will... Yeah, Daxley's fine. Caliburn will bail out the Renekton. Firearms may perish, but yeah, Firearms perishes, as now Ace Theory's in trouble.
Yeah, and Ace Theory has just been going in constantly, trying desperately to be able to pick it up. Spartan going forward, going to be able to pick up Ace Theory for another time, and it might have been another classic Ace Theory bait as Caliburn goes in and manages to pick up over Syzygy, who is just really not having a good time this game. It is almost 20 minutes in. The call is not finished. We are 0-7 with just a Kraken Slayer. I mean, the rest of the team isn't doing, you know, that badly, all things considered. But man, as a bot player, sometimes you just got to feel bad. You know, you're watching someone, you know what it feels like, and you're like, man, cannot catch a break. Sloppy, what? Huh?
Decided they wanted to die.
Huh?
Good night.
Flash forward from Ace, gonna force the flash from Reaper's Blade. Nice little play there. But yeah, that was if you were playing collegiate, I mean, that just gets you benched right there. So that was a very questionable play. Although equally questionable from Caliburn trying to fight there in the top side, gonna lead to another Spartan shutdown. Who really, I mean, throughout this entire day, don't get me wrong, Reapers has looked pretty good. You know, a lot of the team trading back, but it looks like Spartan has just been this sort of rock that's been able to make plays no matter what's been going on the map. through this entire series, right? And I think if you're Scooter Shooters, you really just need to start putting all your eggs into the Spartan basket, because he's the only one that's going to be able to survive when things like this are happening. Greeno picking up another kill. Already has the Malignance as well, just for lower ult cooldowns to press that funny button. And GOATED has just managed to keep the lead, not massive, but consistent at about this 1,000 gold for the last 10 minutes. Has been doing really well, and eventually they'll be able to break away with it, especially once these outer towers start going down. You can see all of the plates going, all of these outer towers just getting lower and lower and lower. And once the map starts breaking open, I really fear for Scooter Shooters, given how much GOATED has just been like running into their jungle and forcing fights.
So we'll see. Currently, Zoro, 7-2 on that Corki, hugely powerful. Like you said, the Yunara just absolutely on the struggle bus this game. Personally, I'm not a bot lane player, so I absolutely love to see AD carries suffer. That is why I play mage support after all. And, you know, Hui's not doing so good. All these damage dealers, they're just so kind of far behind right now that... Well, again, Scooter Shooters should be scaling eventually, but we are now getting to that point where the GOATED roster, they've gotten their 2-item power spikes, and these carries have really assembled themselves into a crazy strong position, and these bruisers are at their max power, as we can see with Calburn here on the Xin Zhao, absolutely tearing it up, finding Slappy, who once again just have been getting caught out both this game and last. Not really getting a whole lot done. This bot lane for the Scooter Shooters has really struggled this series, and I don't know, that was kind of unexpected. You look at the GOATED roster and you think, oh, this is not a super threatening bot lane with Zoro and Ace Theory, but over Syzygy is just kind of really disappointed, I think, compared to maybe what we'd expect, as Calburn gets another one, and yeah, suffering continues.
Yeah, Zoro, gets very low, though, from Reaper's Blade, who's trying to pick up the kill. Unfortunately, a flash away. Gonna miss the ult. Greeno picking up Spartan, and without Spartan, I really don't think Scooter Shooter is going to be able to take this dragon. The bright side, though, Zoro being so low means it can be a dangerous fight if they decide to pick it. It doesn't look like Scooter Shooters even want to try, though. Knowing just how far behind they are and how much they need to catch up. Like we said, now that the map is broken open and we're on Soul Point, I mean, GOATED, it's really their game to lose at this point.
Yeah, and we'll see if GOATED can somehow find a way to lose this game at this point. It's certainly not impossible. I have seen some truly incredible losses in my time watching Draft, as you have as well. You start to see things that you would never truly believe to be real, and in this case, it feels like it should be done and dusted, but you can never really count out the Draft League to surprise you in anything, really, but especially in these kinds of seemingly one-sided affairs, as Firearms is going to get locked up here. TP going to be coming in from Reaper's Blade, though. May just be feeding another one over to GOATED, though, as Firearms will drop. Slappy's here as well, and it looks like the aggression continues.
Yeah, and it's GOATED just not letting up. You can see they don't even want Yunara up here trying to team fight. They know just how futile it is. Just trying to give her as much gold, plates, and farm as possible. As now Spartan forcing a fight. Big stun onto multiple people. Has to go into the Zanyas to try and buy some time. Daxley, though, caught by the Unending Despair as Reaper's Blade picks up one kill. Spartan going in, managing to land a shutdown onto the enemy carry, though. Unfortunately, gonna go down. It was just a matter of time, but a 2 for 3 in this specific scenario is probably one of the best outcomes that you could have hoped for. Sending over Syzygy to completely farm, get 4 plates in that mid lane is going to help a lot with how far behind he is. Now, though, it's going to be GOATED just absolutely ripping into this Baron. Slappy's still there. Firearms does have the TP potential. Yunara just going to keep pushing, though. They don't even care. They say have the Baron. We just need to get our carry to that 3-item spike. You know, surely at 0 and 8, things will get better. Just need the Infinity Edge. Just need, you know, that next item. Unfortunately, really don't know if that next item is going to be coming as the gold lead is pushed even further ahead, and it's now 3 members of GOATED with the Baron.
Yeah, 3 members of GOATED with Baron, and it certainly doesn't look great. It's hard to say necessarily that the scooter shooters are able to even theoretically can find a victory here. Again, like you're kind of joking about it, but that is sort of like the copium we have is, well, maybe Yunara hits 3 items, and maybe Hui also will hit 3 items, and maybe Calburn decides to you know, swap his hands, you know, start playing with like a steering wheel or something. Maybe the world is made of pudding, as it were. So there are a lot of ifs and maybes and scenarios here, but this Baroned Up Siege from the side of GOATED, the high acceleration from this early to mid game roster is what you want to see, and I think that they've been delivering so much here from the side of, you know, Greeno finding a lot of good zoning picks, Calburn getting a lot done, Daxley diving in with the Dominus, just absolutely no fear, and the damage is negligible from the side of the scooter shooters, as that's just a free inhib with absolutely no contest, and that is, I think, smart here. Scooter shooter's going to eat some super minions, and maybe Yunara will finish that 3rd item before the next team fight, but you got a minute until that happens. That's going to be Soul into the GOATED roster. And it's a Dragon Soul, so this is absolutely not one you want to see go to the Wolves.
No, especially the Hextech Soul. I mean, already you have a hard time running away, right? Your mobility is pretty lacking if you're this like hard poke comp that's already struggling when people land on top of you. You eat one downtown Q from that, or sorry, W from that Vigar, your entire team gets slowed. I mean, you're just done, right? That it's just cap. Hextech Soul is not something you can afford to lose at this point, and I think Scooter Shooters knows it. You can see already positioning for this fight. Firearms trying to get the rage up, but it's going to be Calburn trying to land this early pick, and if they take out the Nard, that's their big team fight potential, and that's a really bad situation to be in. Spartan going forward, trying to land the stun, not quite locked into the cage, but stunned up by Ace Theory means the big carry is down. It's just over Syzygy left there. Reaper's Blade goes into the Zanyas, over Syzygy falls. Reaper's Blade gonna go shortly thereafter as Slappy, the last member left alive, and this might be the 2nd victory march. GOATED might be sending us to bed early. We'll have to see. The timers are just so long. 30 seconds here. Baroned Up super minions pushing down, and it's GOATED 5 strong. Trap Slappy in the cage, and that is all but going to secure the map for GOATED here. Tower 1 goes down, Tower 2 goes down, and it's GOATED in 2 quick games taking the series very, very dominantly.
Yeah, I feel like I expected a bit more from the side of the scooter shooters. It's not like the scooter shooters had a bad season. Both teams had kind of relatively middling seasons. GOATED having a bit of a rougher season overall, but no, it just feels like the scooter shooters kind of just couldn't get anything going in both games. The first game was a lot closer in terms of they had some pieces in play, but they just did not have the ability to close things out. They didn't have the damage, or they didn't have the right players getting the right money. The, you know, investments weren't necessarily going where they needed to. And then in game 2, despite that early start, you think, okay, we have all these kills across the board. We have a very, you know, sizable early game lead on these champions that shouldn't be winning early game. And despite that, they just weren't able to convert from there. And I wonder exactly what went wrong here. I know they didn't have Cat, and Cat is a huge part of the scooter shooters roster in terms of success. Cat provides a lot of draft utility because of all the weird picks you can't predict. but it just seems like I don't know. The goated team seemed just completely and totally on point this series with everything they were trying to do, and I think really impressed. I'll say the most impressed I was. I got to give it to personally. While Greeno maybe was not the huge uh like the biggest player in this series, I was very impressed with Greeno compared to kind of what I expected to see from Greeno. Kind of just being relatively underwhelming, but did all right for themselves in a tough against a stronger opponent. And actually just played so well around the map, enabling Calburn so well, finding a lot of good roam opportunities, always being quick on the draw with the roams. Just really impressed me in kind of caught me by surprise in terms of how well he performed. So big ups to Greeno for this series.
Yeah, Greeno played very, very well. Um, Junglers as well. Really feel like everyone on GOATED, there were some inty moments, but I mean that's kind of the price you pay when you're playing that aggressive and you're really just testing your limits. Um, Goated played phenomenally. I will say I'm kind of with you. I expected a little more out of Scooter Shooters, in the fight back, but obviously not having one of your core members certainly hurts going into this sort of playoffs. And hey, they're not out yet. They can still fight their way through lower bracket. And based on everything that we've seen this season, I think there's a very legitimate chance that they make a lower bracket run. Um, Goated, however, looking very dominant, as they have for a pretty decent chunk of the season. So overall, I think today went the score. I don't think is super unexpected. I think the dominance was a little unexpected. But overall, I mean, Goated just has a great set of players. A lot of these veterans that we've seen in the draft league for a very long time. So I'm not surprised that these guys are starting to make a pretty strong run.
Yeah, well, we'll have to see. Best of luck to the Scooter Shooters in the lower bracket. And of course, best of luck to Goated as they move on in the upper bracket. But with that said, we're going to close out our games this week. Thank you all, those of you who tuned in to watch. Thank you to our producer, Sirius, for uh, coming in and clicking the buttons for us, watching Netflix in the background. That's okay. I was playing Slay the Spire on my other monitor, so I can't blame you. Thank you to Reigns, and thank you to everyone else. I have been Becky. Anything you want to say before we close out?
Yeah, just good games, and hopefully we'll be able to see you guys next week.
Yeah, we'll see you then.